Hey, this is Milz from America, and I am back with another tutorial. This one is an overall mixture, so a combination. So for the most part, I'm going to show you most, three combinations of three here and mostly three here. At some points, I could teach you two and two, but to maximize our short time together, I'll try to give you 3 and 3. So this tutorial is not going to spend too much time with this stuff. It's going to be up here. Okay. All right. So yeah, that first one right there, EQ. Usually when I'm making tutorials, or honestly when radio broadcasters are doing this stuff, they're going to use EQ, means equalize. So yeah. And this is under the assumption that oh, by the way, I should have mentioned that in order to do any of this, you have to have your settings on, memory. This is system memory. Memory mixture. Go back. You go over and make sure you have to have this on multi. Remember last time, single versus multi? Because look what happens when I go to single. That goes off. So same thing right there. Okay. All right. So as I was saying, EQ, you go there, and it takes you from the lowest frequencies all the way up to the highest. Low, low, medium, high. Honestly, I still need some more time to try to experiment with some things. There are some people who say that they should do like 10 and then this and then that, and you have all these combinations. Me, I just try to keep it simple since I'm not good at memorizing all those combinations. For my low, since I'm a bass voice, I like to take advantage of that. Highs and then levels. Some people are a little different. Some people just do 5. I like to do 10. It's kind of apples and oranges. All right, so that's one thing when it's by itself. I like to use this for the kick, but since this tutorial is about combinations, I'm not going to get into that. I will say that you go here, you go here. If you're looking to do the sonar thing, I did that on a previous tutorial where I told you how to go filter. So actually, I'll do that real quick again. Rate 0 because you don't want the wah stuff. 96. Okay, 96. And cut off whatever rate you want it to be. For this, you can do it that way. I would lower that down all the way up, like that. And then most people, most people put that with a reverb. So most people do 2 second. Well, some people do 2.8. It depends on what kind of system memory they wanted. So in their system, if they wanted, memory. If they, some people like to do a 3. Some people like to do a 5. So when you exit out of there, it kind of directly relates to this. So if I had it on 3 up here, then I'd probably do a 2.8 seconds. If I had it reverb on 5 up here, then I would usually dial it down to 2. This is to your discretion. By the way, that's another cool little trick. The machine starts with 50. In order to kind of break that, you can just do this, and then D level. So with the most people when they do that, if they're looking for the sonar thing, they jack the reverb up pretty high. Oh, by the way, that's another cool tutorial thing right there. That's the metronome. That's your edit. When you get the machine, so right now you can hear it. You don't want that when you're doing your normal stuff. So you turn it to off. You just switch it. Line out, off. Line out means that that's what you're hearing. So yeah, you will get probably. I think if I remember, DJ Low actually did this by accident on his thing, but oh well. All right, whatever beat you want. By the way, at some point, in order to, you have to stop it. You can actually switch it all the way to like 15/8. So eventually, at some point, I actually will do a composition in like 13/8, 15/8, because I was born in the Balkans, like Serbia, Macedonia, all that. Okay, let's make it simple. Go back to 4/4. That means there are 4 beats per measure, and that a quarter note gets 1 beat. That's basic music theory. You really should know music theory if you're going to do looping. Okay. And then that's all the simple beats. For the sake of argument, since I guess this kind of turned into a metronome tutorial, which is fine. You can. Okay. So yeah. So with that one, you only hear 1 and 2 in, but for me to do the true metronome, you want to be able to subdivide each and every part of, there's a big beat and then there's like the smaller beat. So you want to feel each in each part of it. So instead of simple beat 1, I usually jack it up to 5. So that way you can feel that. And then a tutorial, and then Thorson in a previous tutorial talked about how you can use this and use your body and all that. Okay, so that was a metronome tutorial. Wasn't expecting to do that, but anyway. Okay. I'm gonna turn that line out. So now you can't hear it, which is what we're looking for. Okay, so back to this combination, the sonar combination of filter, Q, reverb. Okay, some people like to, instead of, they can do one note, but most people, I think they might, I would recommend that you try to actually harmonize it. So depends on what your starting note is. So if you remember when I've talked about most like the filter and grand delay stuff, it's a pattern of 12, right? Because there's 12 semitones in a chromatic scale. You add. So that was a low F, and I went a high F. Okay. Now, if you know that, let's say you're doing a major scale, you should know that do to mi, do mi, do mi. That's, you'd have to add 4 to that. So 58 plus 4, 62. let's keep going. All right. All right, so that's all of that was for one combo. Okay, let's show you. I know that took a long time, but I'll show you another input combo. Is you can do robot to build chords, and you can usually put that with reverb. So put that back. And by the way, that's a good lesson when you're doing transitions and stuff. Be mindful. If something was at 2, if it was at 10, you have to know inside your brain to be, okay, I gotta go this and I gotta use this, boom, 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 fast to the next thing, right?
So you make sure, so if this is in an F major, depends if you have a very electronic style. That's part of this chord, that's part of this chord. So that probably makes the most sense.
Alright, and then if you wanted to build it, if you're starting at F and you want to make an F chord, and so right now this has F and A, you have to realize that you're gonna have to go down to C. So instead of what we call root position, F is the root of the chord. So F, A. If this was convenient, you could just do C, but no, you have to go back to do what's called an inversion. So C, F, A instead of F, A. I wish the C was past that, but it's not. See, so I'm saying C, C. I showed you the sonar stuff. Most people use that for guitar to bass. Okay, so that's that. Let's see, another thing that people sometimes they like to distort their voice. It's kind of similar to robot. I'm not going to do that for right now. Dynamics, percussion. So enemy touched on this a lot. The ones I use for most of my stuff is live comp. I usually jack it up to plus 20. Then I usually combine that. You can combine that. See? Reverb. Take that off if you want. And I usually use this for my snares. So okay, and then that's usually one layer, and then usually for my hi-hats, I usually take the reverb off and I keep the live comp on. Remember, I said dynamics live comp, and I usually keep my plus 20. Okay, and then for my kick, for our purposes, I'm not going to use a patch dry. I'm just going to do a real simple dry, like that. You can undo. So undo whichever one you want, and undo it again. So, and you can always redo it. That's why it says undo, redo, right? If you want to add some more layers to that, I wouldn't recommend using the reverb on the crash. I wouldn't recommend that. You can go. Some people might want to add a second kick in there, like this. Personally, I think it's a little too muddy, so I'm gonna guess what I'm gonna do. Undo it, right? There. Now I'm back with just one kick. Okay? Put those 4 combinations we just did, and you get. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's keep on going. Some people like to do octave. So you can, if you want to make it extra, you can do it either, you can octave it in 1 octave, or sorry, 1 octave below, 2 octaves, or I would recommend mixing it. I think Inky likes to do this a lot. You can jack the reverb up. Another way is instead of just octave, you can also, instead of EQ, you can also, a lot of people do chorus. Shout out to Guru for this. Chorus. Make sure with your chorus, you can put the E level as much as you want. Depth, you can do that. Rate, I would keep it down below 30 because it's going to distort it. So if you're like this, if you're like this, and you go like this, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds distorted like this. That's why I said to keep it down below 30. Now it sounds like a same thing again. Cantus bibimos ave satani aetus bibimos. Octave. Some people like to do the slicer thing. This is one of my fun parts. people at speed. We call that a dotted eighth note. By the way, when people are, let me go through and give another brief music theory lesson. Half note, 2 beats, dotted quarter note. That is a half note triplet, quarter note, dotted eighth note. Eighth note has 1 stem, because a quarter note triplet. Eighth note. That is a dotted 16th note. A 16th note has 2 stems right there. Eighth note triplet. 16th note with 2 bars. And the fastest one is a 32nd. So be careful when you're doing slicer and stuff, slicer kind of stuff. That's a dotted 16th. Make sure you don't accidentally interchange the dotted 16th with the 32nd. The 32nd note will always be the fastest. Okay, so I'm not gonna do that. Most people for that. I'm not sure why it's not. Okay, there we go. I got it. EQ. I don't want that. You can use reverb. I wouldn't do that, because think about it. If you're slicing, you're not gonna reverb. It's kind of opposites, right? So this is another combination. I'm gonna teach you how to do the slicer thing that Thorsten and everybody else does. So, all right, I'm gonna delete the sonar. Say bye bye sonar. We'll see you some other time. Another quick tutorial, by the way, is this is clear hold in 2 seconds. Nope, ain't nobody got time for that. You just go boom boom and it's done. Okay. Right? Okay. Wait a little bit. So you don't. What you don't want to do is this. You don't want to start it exactly. Because then it's not. Because then you're not gonna get which is what you're looking for in the first place, right? Right. See? Right. That means time is correct. If the rest of this is an F major chord, F, A, C. Remember with this robot we did C, F, A. We call that an inversion, right? With this, we're doing this in root position, right? F first, and then A, and then C third. So for this, okay, ready? Okay, so that wasn't perfect, but you get my point. That's a combination. They use EQ and they use a slice P1. That. So like Matei did that, Thorsten did that. So moving on along. Next one. We have the. Oh, look, we ran out. Okay, this one, EQ. Some people like to roll. Chorus was the one I just showed you. And of course, some people like to do the delay stuff. So of course, he's filtered. Really mine filtered. So I didn't go ahead and show you the whole grand delay with filter, that whole, because actually shout out to Vision Elf. He just Vision Elf just recently did the thing with the grand delay and the filter. Okay. All right. That was that. All right. So that was all the IFX. Now we're on the TFX. I know that's very long, but it's a lot to do. Okay, a lot of people like to do beat repeat on stuff. Beat repeat. So let's choose this. By the way, make sure that when you're doing these, as always, with track effects, you make sure which ones aren't gonna do things. Now it depends. Some people, it depends. Like some people like to just do this. I like to repeat on the longer notes, so it's a whole note, half note, quarter note. Thorson likes to do things very fast. Ibarra sometimes does things fast. Some people like to do that. People, when they do the beat repeat, they can do another thing is a lot of people they want to call it an umbrella. You have beat repeat. I call them the 3 beats: repeat, shift, scatter. So Sorrow and Thorson especially does a lot of the scatter stuff, which isn't going to really matter because it's not a lot of notes. So it's like Thorson does usually P4, and the fastest you can go on beat scatter is the 16th note. So they can distort it and equalize it. So if something is very high, you can actually like this. A lot of people, this is like the rhythm part. This is the volume part. A lot of people do, and this is like the like length kind of thing. So you can also do different kind of tone colors. Like a lot of people use B as lo-fi, some flanger, ring mod. I like to do vocal disc. So people like to, you know, whatever you want to do. And for that, to make that more effective, level. Like I said, roll it, grand delay it, delay it. So that's the thing with the TFX is usually with this, usually on the IFX, you can't really get too playful with it. This you can get very playful with it, like I was doing, like, you know, like your third and fourth piano finger. This sometimes, then I was alternating between 2 and 3 here. Sometimes all three on and off at the same time. So yeah, so like I said, beat scatter, vocal dist or EQ, like a delay or reverb. Okay. Vinyl flick. Oh, everyone's favorite. I recently did a vinyl flick thing tutorial. Check that out. If it's, we talked about how that was no man's land, right? So if you wanna boomerang things. Since this wasn't like a like that, then people usually, I like to usually use a tremolo or a slicer in there. Usually tremolo. I personally prefer tremolo over slicer. It's just a personal preference. So you can do that too. Make it change the tone color. That works too. Filter. That's another thing a lot of people like to do. They like to mess with the So yeah, that's another thing people like to do. It's like when they drop it. Right? Okay, that's another. All right. Yeah, vinyl flick. Okay. for B, B, like I said, I feel like B for me is more it's either like you want to do things like a lo-fi and ring, or people can use it as a tremolo. My favorite rate personally is like around the 88. I usually really like a high depth. That's just me. It's more effective for low frequencies. So like I said, a lot of a cool thing I've noticed, if you want, like when you're ending and when you're fading away or whatever, is to do reverb at the very end. So I think this last one is going to wrap up this tutorial. This is a really long tutorial. Thanks for tuning in there. Oops. I'll let that up. Thank you for listening. Thanks for enjoying my routine. So, and for extra fancy, you can do it like that. Thanks for enjoying my routine. The last note of my routine is like this. Yeah, so I think that's kind of cool. Obviously, you don't have to. I think it's kind of cool. Remember. Yeah. So that's actually how Sorrow ends his waves. Like, and then the reverb thing. Okay, that was a lot. I appreciate it. So like we said, we talked about like guitar to bass. So I taught you like a sonar, popular sonar thing, real quick review. I did, let's see, did the slicer thing. That was the guitar to bass. That was I tell you how I did my percussion combos. That was the robot one on how to build a chord. That was like the octave. That was the octave chorus reverb. Okay. All right. Hope all that made sense. I've been getting really good feedback. I hope I can keep inspiring future people to keep pushing this forward. Keep pushing. All right, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you, Ash.